When this is all over, I am going to kill you.
I understand.
I'll be back.
Terminator Dark Fate is finally here and is directed by Tim Miller and stars Linda Hamilton, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Mackenzie Davis, Gabriel Luna, and Natalia Reyes. This film I was anticipating, it was in my top 15 most anticipated films of the year, and I gotta say, after all of the negative buzz surrounding this movie, I left feeling pretty happy. I really enjoyed this movie. It's not as good as T2, don't get me wrong, but T2 is one of the best action movies ever made, so it's kind of hard to top that. But I already reviewed T2, so let's just get right into reviewing this. Now let's get into what I liked. The story. Now it wasn't 100% I wasn't 100% all in on the story, because it does kind of feel like the other Terminator movies, but they expand the Terminator world a lot more and add way more things to it to keep it interesting without feeling like we were just watching a rehash of the last two films. They just add a lot of nuance to the story, while still kind of keeping that mainstream premise, or just main premise they had going in the last two, or the last, I don't even know, I didn't even watch 3, 4, and 5, and that's, I think, what kind of saved this movie for me. I didn't have the memory of 3, 4, and 5 in my head. All I remembered was 1 and 2, because those were the only ones I saw, and basically, this really just felt like a direct sequel right to 2 for me. And I was just thinking constantly, I wonder what's happening in that other universe with Genesis and all that stuff, because maybe I'll get to watching those someday. But I really think that's what saved this movie for me, or at least made it better, is because I didn't have I walked into this movie with a fresh mind, and I walked out feeling good. And this movie, the story adds so much more to it, that you really feel like you are watching something new, but at the same time it could have used a little more originality, but I'll get into that later. Another thing I loved about this movie is the action. There is some fantastic action scenes in this movie. In the trailer, it shows Arnold with the machine gun, or I don't know what kind of gun that is, but he aims it at the T-8000's head, and then he's just rapid firing on his face, and then it just grows back. I love that part. There's a great truck chase in this movie, a great scene on an airplane. There's just so many great action scenes in this movie, and there's a lot of action in this movie. I think there's even more than even in T2. I think T2 still had the better action, but this movie had some fantastic action scenes as well. But after watching movies like John Wick 3 earlier this year, which I've mentioned at least a billion times on my channel, that movie had the action which I've never seen before, and I think what this movie could have used, it's not necessarily a flaw I had with the movie, it's just something they could have added. I guess they could have made the action a little more unique, but there's so many scenes with the cool special abilities of the new Terminators and stuff, and they make a lot of cool things out of that, so that's not really a complaint with the movie. I just think I don't know, they could have made it a little more creative. I don't know, but still, I thought the action was really good. And another thing I expected going into this, but I wasn't sure how well it would be handled, was the emotion. This movie's emotion is handled really well. I really felt the characters, the character development and everything, because the characters are really developed in this movie, especially Linda Hamilton's character and Mackenzie Davis's character. Their characters are super developed. I really cared about them throughout this movie. Linda Hamilton is really well developed, and I really gave a shit about her even more, and she's just a badass as Sarah Connor. She's awesome. And Arnold Schwarzenegger's character, actually, his T-800 got a lot more development in this movie, which I thought was great. That was a great addition to this movie. I thought his character would kind of be well, I was confused walking in, because if you've seen the end of T2, then you're why is he there? And then this movie explains it. So yeah, I was just walking in, hopefully thinking I didn't miss anything, and I didn't, so I was good. But I think the emotion is handled really well. There's a lot of drama behind a bunch of characters and stuff, and there's a lot of emotion in this movie, and I think they handled it really well. Also, another thing I liked was the effects. The effects in this movie are really well done. They're really, like, everything looks great. There's some moments where you're like, I can tell it's CGI, but not necessarily a flaw, just like, you know, the effects I thought were really well done with the T800 and everything, or not the T800, T8000. I think it's T8000. There's so many T's, man. I think the effects with him were great. They just, I don't know. I think just everything in this movie, like with the effects, like I thought they looked great. And this movie has some really cool moments as well, especially some with Arnold Schwarzenegger's T800. You know, just some great scenes with Arnie, and especially the opening scene. The opening, like, you know how like movies have like opening logos and everything. The opening logos in this movie were really cool. I've never seen a movie do this, or at least I don't remember seeing a movie do this special type of thing. And then the whole opening to this movie is crazy, and I loved it. And this movie takes risks, and some of them I didn't like. Only some of them though, but. And some of them I thought were like good choices. Like I thought they took some good risks in this movie, which probably pissed off a lot of people. But I thought I liked what they did, and you know, it's good that movies take risks. I can't talk. It's good that like a movie like that takes risks, because like, you know, it's just everyone expects the movie to go a certain way, but then like, you know, people like want movies to go a certain way, but then like the movie doesn't, and then people get mad. But yeah, I just hope you go in knowing that like not everything is gonna be like, I guess, how you think it's gonna go. But yeah, I guess some people just got pissed off at that, so I thought I would just put that in. Now let's get into the bad of this movie. I didn't have that many flaws with it. Mainly, like, my main issue with it was, like I said earlier, the story. While having lots of original elements added, they still could have used some more originality. Basically meaning, like, you know, we see Sarah Connor protecting this person who's going to be a leader in the future. I mean, it's totally not like T2. Yeah, that part of the story, you know, I thought they could have done something else. You know, they could have made it more original. Just, it could have felt more fresh. But I thought like, you know, with the, I'm not going to spoil anything, but like just certain things they do with the story in the future and everything, I thought were handled really well. I like what they did with that, but I just thought like the main like premise, that's like what's keeping you on the edge, could have used some more originality. And some minor flaws, or at least this one minor flaw, is I could have used more of the Terminator theme. Yeah, it's just a really tiny flaw. You know, it's just nice to have the little Terminator theme in there, you know, especially the T2 one. The T2 one is great, but you do get it, and you know, I just could have used some more of it. After this movie ended, me and my friend were talking about how much better it was than some people were saying it was. And as soon as the movie ended, two dudes behind me just ran out of the theater, and me and my friend just looked at each other, and we were like, well, I guess they didn't like it. Yeah, I don't know, they just, I guess they really did not have a good time. And my friend whispered over to me and said, like, they were complaining about it the whole time. So I was like, oh, well, that sucks. Like, you know, so I feel like some people are just going into this movie just wanting to hate it, and some are just going in hoping it's a good movie. Just be that kind of person. Just go in and like hope it's a good movie. Anyways, I walked out of this movie really enjoying it and having a good time. I thought this movie was really good, and I'll give Terminator Dark Fate an A-. Honestly, ignore all the negativity around this film. Just go see it and make your own opinion. That's what I did, and I ended up having a really good time. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll be continuing doing horror reviews for the next week. And as always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.